Petworking is presented by Maya Strategy Group, a leading market research and strategy consulting firm, helping clients in the pet care and animal health industries navigate strategic challenges for almost 2 decades. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petworking. I'm Peter Kenseth, Vice President and Partner at Maya Strategy Group, and I am here today with Daniella Morgan-Pascualvaca, Chief of Staff at Mella Pet Care. Mella is another company really kind of spearheading the revolution of in-home diagnostics and playing in both the veterinary and D2C diagnostics channels within the pet care space. They also have a really cool story from the venture capital side of things, having received funding from Leap Venture Studio, which I'm sure a number of you are aware of, as well as so super excited to talk to Daniella about all these things. Without further ado, I'll introduce her to the Petworking audience. Daniella, thanks so much for joining us and welcome to Petworking.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. It's so good to be here. I can't wait to talk about Mella, everything that we do. I know it can get so complicated. We're in the vet space, we're in the pet parent space. So yeah, it's going to be a great chat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, having information is what we need to provide the best possible care to our pets, right? Whether that's in the vet's office or whether that's at home. So I think it's great that, you guys are addressing both audiences. And I think in recent, in the last 6 months to a year, we've seen companies steadily moving towards putting diagnostic tools in the hands of pet parents. And I think increasingly vets are becoming more open to that because they realize it's more convenient. It saves them, pet parents, from having to bring their pets to the vet for something that they could look at or test for at home. It probably gets pets into the vet more often because if you're an attentive enough pet parent to be checking your pet's temperature or checking their scratching or sleep habits or what have you at home, you're going to be more likely to bring them into the vet when you notice that something's wrong. And so I think it's great that, you guys are playing across channels and, talk to me a little bit about, the strategy. I know when we spoke prior to today's episode, you mentioned that Mella started out being very vet focused, but you've started to migrate into the pet parent side of the business and go more not direct to consumer and also through other consumer channels, e-com, Chewy. I don't know if you're in brick and mortar retail yet, but talk to us about the evolution of that strategy and how you're seeing it play out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So as you mentioned, we did begin as a veterinary focused company. This was because we had different experience in both the vet world and also just obviously taking our pets to the vet. For instance, I was a veterinary assistant and I remember having to take pets' rectal temperatures as part of just the general intake practice. Temperature is such an important temperature, a metric. So you want to take your pet's temperature when going to the vet to know if they're healthy or not. But it's awful for everybody involved. And so we realized this pain point in the vet world. Vets are overworked, they see so many patients. We really wanted to just help them out and give them a tool that would make their lives so much easier. And of course, we're not veterinarians. We have experience in that industry, but we're not vets ourselves. And so we really wanted to create a product that was co-created with veterinarians. They're the smart people. They know what's going on. They know what needs to be changed in their industry. And so we created this device hand in hand with them, gone through clinical trials at veterinary universities so that we could create a device that really made their lives easier and the pets' lives a lot comfortable too, because they don't want to get that rectal temperature done when they go to the vet clinic, of course. And what we then realized was, hey, there's a market here for pet parents. And this happened around the start of COVID when vet clinics shut down and they were taking less clients, when they were saying, okay, you can't come into the clinic with your pet, you have to do this curbside drop off, where you mentioned it really well. We want to make sure that pet parents are taking to their pets to the vet at the right time. So there are some pet parents that are on one side of things where they take their pets to the vet all the time. Oh, Fluffy is limping, Fluffy is vomiting, Fluffy has diarrhea, rush them to the vet. And they're, spending so much time, energy, and money on these vet visits. And then we have the other side where people don't go to the vet at all. And so what we wanted with our home diagnostics is to really bring it right into the middle where you're not taking your pet to the vet every time there's a inconvenience or something's wrong, but you're also not never taking them to the vet. So the idea of the device is, yeah, to bring diagnostics into the home. So you as a pet parent can say, my pet's not acting themselves. Let's take their temperature. If they have a fever, rush them to the vet. That's an indication that they have some concern. And if they don't, okay, we can wait a couple of days, see how it goes. We don't have to rush to make that appointment right now. And so it's really just making parents' lives easier. Vets are sometimes not affordable, sometimes they're not accessible. And so we're helping consumers out on that front as well. So yeah, we are in e-commerce, anywhere online where you can get a device. That's kind of been our strategy, just to go direct to veterinarians on the clinic side of things, and then go direct to consumers on the pet parent side of things, and just kind of push our product out as much as possible.
It's awesome. That's awesome. And so right now on the pet parent side of things, you have the home thermometer and the scale, and you have the corresponding products within the vet space. So as you moved out and marketed to pet parents and to everyday consumers, what did you strip out of the thermometer and the scale that's in the vet clinic that pet parents aren't going to have access to?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is the practice management system integration. So that's a really big one on our vet side of things. All of our products talk via Bluetooth to our app, whether that's mobile or desktop, and then from that app to your practice management system. So if you're a vet, you don't have to worry about writing down that data, losing it on a piece of paper, writing it on the back of your hand and having it smudge. It all goes right back into the record. So you got that seamless integration, and it's so much easier. You don't have to figure that out. And pet parents don't really need that. So we made it just a little bit more of a simpler product. The vet thermometer is also just this bulkier, like made for clinic, like super durable. If you throw it across the room, it's all good. And the pet parent version is a little smaller. It's less intimidating. You look at it and you're reminded more of a toothbrush than an actual medical device. We didn't want it to be super scary. And then also on the scale side of things, they're a little different. So the veterinary version actually has a few more features. It has impedance pads, so you're able to measure body fat percentage and then get the BMI out of that. And the home version, we wanted to make it more affordable for pet parents. Pet parents aren't going to buy this massive scale that's made for veterinary clinics. It's a little bit too much. So we made just a version that doesn't take those two metrics. It's just weight, but you're able to then track that over time in our app as well. So it's just for managing your pet's weight at home. Then you can go to your vet and say, look, Fluffy's been doing so well over the last month or so since we came in last time. But you don't need the crazy measurements going on when you're at home.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And and to that end, you guys have focused on temperature, you focused on weight. You have, in addition to the scale and the thermometer products, you have the Smart Bowl scale, the Tappy tape measure. Talk to us, a little bit about, why the focus on temperature and weight. What led you guys to prioritize those first? Are there other uh, smart connected diagnostic devices that you're going to be bringing to market? And you know, where talk about kind of the start of the journey and where you see Mella going forward.
Yeah, that's a long one because we do have so many ideas. We started with these devices in particular because they're part of the intake when you take your pet to the vet. So when you first take your pet to the vet and the first 10 minutes are spent getting weight, temperature, heart rate, oxygen saturation, not always, but respiratory rate, those metrics that are super important to then tell the vet, this is how this patient is doing. So that's what we really wanted to start off with, just to make that initial part of the visit so much better. Because sometimes it does take a while, especially because the pet is more stressed out than they might be later on. They need some time to kind of get used to being in the clinic space. So the first 10 to 15 minutes can be pretty tough. So we targeted that as first. And when we brought it over to the home, we said, well, these are important metrics to have at home as well. If they're doing it as part of the intake of the vet clinic, it's important that you as a pet parent know that as well. So that's kind of the what we're using to make more products in the future. That idea that there's still some more that we haven't made. So one of those would be our pulse oximeter, where right now you have to take heart rate and you have to take respiratory rate at a lot of clinics. You usually put on the stethoscope and you count and you look at your watch, and then after 10 seconds maybe you multiply by 6, or if you're feeling lazy you can do it for 6 seconds and multiply by 10. But it's a little bit less of an exact science, and you also don't want to be touching this pet for that long because they'll get a little bit agitated. So our pulse oximeter will help with that intake process as well. It'll just be a band that wraps around the hind leg of the pet. It'll take oxygen saturation, heart rate, and respiratory rate, 3 incredibly important metrics. And on the home side of things, where we aren't really sure that there's that big need for those metrics as much, we are going to be making a blood pressure monitor. So that's something that a lot of cats especially suffer from hypertension. And a lot of the products that are currently out there are made for vet use that are super expensive, in the thousands of dollars. You as a pet parent aren't going to want to buy that. And so we're making a much, much smaller device, a lot more manageable, just a very simple, small box that can take your pet's blood pressure. So the idea is where we start with these vet products. They tend to maybe be a little bit more expensive because they're for the clinic. But then when we make them for the home, we tend to make them smaller, more affordable, so that it's accessible to every single pet parent. I mean, the absolute dream of our company would be if our devices and our ecosystem existed in every single vet clinic and every single pet household. So I like to say that we don't really have a plan to stop until we run out of ideas. And at this rate, we are not going to run out of ideas because we get so many awesome ideas from our customers. So many vets say, oh, have you heard of making, this X device? We didn't even know that existed. And so people have really just been amazing about giving us ideas, saying this is another pain point in the vet world or at home. Can you help us? And I think as long as people are asking for help, we'll try to deliver.
It's awesome. That's super cool. And yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things, and I always point back to my experience with a company called Invoxia, who we had on the show last year, is kind of illustrating the importance of at-home diagnostics and the ability to kind of check in on your pet independent of the veterinarian. We trialed the Invoxia collar. It's been starting about a year ago now, and they do heart rate and respiratory rate. And when I first got it, I was like, it does GPS. It's adding in heart rate and respiratory rate. What do I really need? And then you start to think about it, like, okay, if I can see my pet's heart rate every day, and I can see that their heart rate has changed, or that it's moved off its baseline average, or that it's higher than normal. Same with respiratory rate. Like, it's a good clue to take your pet to the vet, one, that you might not otherwise pick up on. And two, those are metrics that, where I think like that there's even more potential on the pet parent, the in-home diagnostic side, is that when you bring your dog or cat to the vet, like, they're not calm. You're not getting a true heart rate there. You're not getting a true respiratory rate. I took Peony to the vet yesterday, and she was so nervous the whole time she was there that it just wasn't. You know, you could tell she's there panting the whole time, and she wanted to leave. Wanted and super nice. I we were at the neurologist yesterday, trying to figure out what's going on with her back, but and super, the neurologist was super nice woman, doctor, the tech was great, but she's nervous. It's not a normal environment for her. And, I think that is such a challenge is that it's hard for vets to get a good read on what's going on with your pet when they can do is observe them in a clinic in a 12 by 12 room with no windows. It's not your pet can't talk. They're relying on you to communicate for them. Um, they may be masking symptoms. It's a complicated process. So I think the more we can, you know, give pet parents data at home to kind of be tuned in to what's going on with their pet's day-to-day health and to have those base mark um, biomarkers, so to speak, benchline biomarkers, it's going to make big difference in the overall care that people are able to take of their pets. Um, Now, you guys remind me, Danielle, how long has Mella been around? When was the company founded?
Since 2019.
2019. Very cool. And one of the things that I really want to talk to you about, is your experience growing up and taking, money from venture capital, getting venture capital investments and how that has helped Mela scale. I remember, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember if it was Global Pet or Super Zoo. I saw Mela in the new product section and it was a poster. You guys had a poster in the new product section and I looked, I was like, this is a cool idea, but there was no physical product there. And you fast forward to this year, you guys have a big established booth, lots of products. You've been on Shark Tank. Obviously, the VC money helps in that regard. Talk to us a little bit about, kind of how that helped you scale and the experience working with the Leaf Venture Studio.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've always just said that we can't do this on our own. No successful company is built just three team members grinding it out with no outside help. I mean, it's nearly impossible, not only because, we don't have the money, but because we don't have the experience. And so as soon as we founded, we were just looking to outside help to get mentors. And when we applied for the LEAPS cohort and we were able to participate in that, that was absolutely incredible. Way more so just the mentorship that we got. Obviously, money is great because it does help us with our molding and our marketing and all of that. But it was really mostly about the people that we met there. Just wonderful people, people that taught us simple things, even like how to record a video and make it look good, how to sell the product just with an iPhone and recording it with your pet at home, all the way to these connections that we made with top hospital networks, with really big, telehealth companies and PIMS companies. It was so much good networking. And yeah, we learned so much from them. We could not have done anything without our investors. Um, Honestly, yeah, it's nearly impossible to scale a business on your own without outside help. And it's one of those things where it's a gift that keeps on giving. So we're still meeting people from Leap at conferences. We're still getting all of these connections from there. And every time we do it, we kind of learn more about the industry. There's more people that we haven't met. Suddenly it's here's the top dog in Petco. Want to meet him? Yeah, of course. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's always just been an experience thing for us, honestly, more than the money, but it was awesome.
Yeah, and for people who may not be familiar with Leap, Leap Venture Studio is a partnership between Mars Pet Care, the Mickelson Found Animals organization, and RGA Ventures. And I think, if memory serves me correctly, Daniela, every company that is admitted to the program, and they do it in cohorts, right? So there's like 6 to 8 companies that are admitted to the program at a time, and what are they? They've got to be on their eighth or ninth cohort now. I don't know what cohort you guys were a part of, but
There's
I
a
think
lot
every company
now.
gets like 200,000 in funding. So it's not a huge amount of money, but like you said, when you're connected with folks at Mars Pet Care and the Mickelson Found Animals, and RGA studios, like that's got to be a phenomenal experience. You know, talk to us a little bit about you had to apply to get into Leap, um, and
Yes.
when what year were you guys, so in the trajectory of of Mella as a company, founded 2019, part of Leap, and then we can get to Shark Tank, which I think is your most recent infusion of money, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So Leap, we applied at the perfect time because it was 2021 and we ended up launching both of our thermometers a little bit later that year. So we did our veterinary version in July and our home version in December. So between the months of January and April, we were with Leap nearly 24/7. And it's a little bit of a different experience nowadays because now it's in person. At the time, it was all remote, thanks to COVID. So it was one of those years where we weren't getting into the in-person events probably as much as we would have liked to, because it's always fun to meet people in person. But it was crucial because we were right at that stage where it's like we hadn't launched our products yet. And it's always scary to make that first jump, right? It's always scary to say this is for sale. So it was right at that time where they were able to hold our hands, give us a little bit more advice to say, you guys are ready, it's fine, like make that jump. So the program concluded in April, and then in July, we had our first product out. And I think you always kind of need those mentors just to say, come on, just jump. You'll figure it out later. You'll get feedback from your initial customers. It doesn't have to be perfect when you first launch it. Nothing's ever perfect when you first launch it, of course. Now 3 years later, our products are, significantly more refined, but they were awesome and just saying, it's time, send it out and see how it goes.
Cool. And who's our friend that we had join?
This is Star. She is our, yeah, wonderful.
Star.
Although, yeah, she did enjoy chewing on some of this mic. Hi, sweetie. Do you want to go take a nap instead? She says no. She wants to hang out with us instead.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think she's the first cat we've had on the program. So
Oh,
welcome.
good.
I can't ever get Peony to jump up and come on camera. Sometimes you can see her in the background there. She's on the
Well, I
floor
can't
behind
get her
me.
to
But
jump off, so we have opposite problems here.
yeah, no, that's super cool. I mean, if you had to say, I know you talked about the connections that you made, and obviously, when you have a company, with the size and scale of a Mars Pet Care and Mickelson Found Animals, they can obviously put you in touch with, key buyers at Petco or Chewy, or you know walk you into Global Pet or Super Zoo or whatnot. So I know the networking has to be a huge benefit. But I've also heard from other folks that have participated in Leap that the help from RGA in terms of like a project and marketing and advertising is super helpful. What would you say? Could you comment on that? And what would you say was like the most helpful piece of assistance that you got from Leap?
Yeah, I'm surprised you did mention that about marketing because we had a wonderful project with them because we had the idea for a pet thermometer for consumers at that point in time, but we didn't know if there was a market for it. And so they ran that whole study for us where I don't even know how they did it, but they went out, found pet parents, both online, in person, and they just polled hundreds of thousands of them just to say, would you get a pet thermometer? Did you know that you need a pet thermometer? How much would you pay for a pet thermometer? And so that really, when they came back with that case study, it solidified the fact that, yeah, we should make this thermometer for pet parents. So yeah, this was the point in time when we were going to launch the Pro thermometer and we were thinking about the consumer one, but we weren't quite decided about it. And that study changed everything because then we realized that there are people out there who would buy a thermometer for their own pet at home. And that was wonderful. I don't think we could have ever found that many people. I mean, it's hard to do, customer interviews. We could probably get like 10, 20 on our own just organically. So the fact that they were able to get so many just to respond really it was a wonderful sample size. So Yeah, they did a wonderful job on that front.
That's really cool to hear. Sounds like a lot of the work we do at Maya uh, from time to time. Um, but we're not part of Leap Venture Studio, unfortunately. Uh, the the other side of that I have to imagine was super cool, given your focus on data and integrating with PIMS. Mars had to have been an amazing partner in that regard, because I look at Mars and they have more data than any other pet care company on the face of the planet. I mean, they have Wisdom Panel, they have Whistle, they own Banfield, VCA. They're the largest holder of veterinary clinics in North America. Um, and all of that, all that data is there at their disposal to, come up with customized diets. Or I think we saw at um, Western Vet this year, Royal Canin working with Wisdom Panel to create customized diets based on DNA. And I would imagine having more data from a at-home diagnostic perspective rolled into that ecosystem would be huge. Did Mars talk to you at all about that, or how to leverage partnerships in terms of the data that you're bringing to the table, both from a at-home and veterinary perspective? Obviously, with the PIMS integration, I think you mentioned they help there, but any discussion about how to leverage the at-home data that you're providing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially with telehealth and also insurance companies, that's a big conversation because with telehealth, usually it's just through a screen. It's just like you and me talking right now. I don't know what your temperature is. And it would be weird, you could kind of touch your forehead and say, yeah, no, I think I'm fine today. I don't have a fever. But if I'm a veterinary professional and you're looking at your pet and you're saying, well, I think my pet's okay, that's a hard one to do. But with our diagnostic devices, you can then say, I know my pet's exact temperature, I know my pet's exact weight. Later on in the future, I'll know my pet's exact blood pressure. And so it really makes these telehealth conversations super, super efficient. So that's been an awesome one that we're rolling out in just a little bit, where pet parents will be able to teleconnect with a vet through the app. And so if your pet has a high temperature, instead of just saying, your pet has a fever, good luck, it'll actually say, hey, your pet has a fever. That's not good. Here's how you can teleconnect with some of our vet partners. So that's definitely something that's coming very, very soon in the next couple of months or so, I would say. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the insurance conversation, where a lot of insurance companies will offer pet parents and your average just employee, human employee, a benefit for their pet's health. And one of those things is at-home diagnostics. It used to be just that benefits for a company would be PTO and your own health insurance. But now that pets are part of the family, one of those benefits is making sure your pet is healthy as well. So you get your own insurance, you also get insurance for your pet, and you get these tools to go along with your pet's insurance so that you can help them at home. So yeah, these are conversations with massive companies that would not be possible without our partners. It's very, very hard for a small company to knock on the door of a big guy and say, hey, do you guys want to work with us? So that's where, yeah, these connections and these introductions are so crucial, and they were amazing about that.
Yeah, no, I imagine. Now with telehealth, is that something that you're offering for free as part of, being a Mela customer, or do your customers have to then pay extra to access the televet services? And obviously I know, a lot of the pet insurance companies out there, if you have their plan, they'll give you free access to telehealth. So I imagine that's a different conversation that you're having, but can certainly,
Yeah.
we're huge fans of pet insurance here at Petworking. We just did an episode with Odie Pet, and talked a lot about the ins and outs of pet insurance. So if you haven't seen that episode, I'll put a plug in for it here. Go check it out. Miles and I had a great conversation. Um,
Yeah, so it is dependent on each telehealth company. It's kind of up to them if they want to. Sometimes they offer a discount, sometimes they do cover that up front. It's kind of, yeah, on a case by case basis. What we do is just kind of funnel our customers to these telehealth companies to say, this is a pet who had a fever or a pet who's concerned about their weight, and it's up to them then figure it out. But of course, yeah, if insurance kind of comes in and mitigates some of these costs, if insurance is overlooking telehealth and us, that would be amazing as well. But yeah, these are all conversations that unfortunately sometimes take a very long time to come to fruition. But we're out here working on it. We're vouching for our fellow pet parents, trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no, for my money, it's a no-brainer for a pet insurance company because, you know, they're going to be reimbursing for a vet visit whether it's needed or not. And so if, I know through my pet insurance, I have 24/7 access to Whisker Docs. And so if I'm unsure, if it's after hours and I can't call my vet to say, hey, I'm concerned about this, does she need to come in or not? I can call them and, I'll get a more informed opinion than me going online and Googling things and trying to figure out whether I need to take her to the emergency vet or not. So, I look at it from the perspective of, if I'm a pet insurance company from a cost mitigation standpoint, if you have some, if you're offering access to telehealth, you're probably going to reduce the amount of vet visits that, of unnecessary vet visits that you would otherwise be reimbursing. And, again, if you, and if the more data you have as a telehealth provider, the better the recommendation you can make. If you can say, well, okay, their heart rate is normal, their blood pressure is normal, their temperature's normal, you can probably watch and wait, versus, oh, okay, their heart rate's elevated. Yeah, we should get them in sooner rather than later. Now, Danielle, you mentioned the telehealth partnership rolling out soon. When is the blood pressure going to be coming? When are we going to see that?
Oh man, we hope soon. So we are finishing up just polling the audience, as they say, and just kind of getting a better understanding of how to roll it out. But hopefully in the next few months, I would say people will be able to start to buy it. It'll just be a nice small device. You can have it at home, nothing scary like the ones that are in the vet clinics that are like these massive boxes that are a little intimidating. This one will be a little bit smaller, just a small box. So people aren't going to be afraid, but we're very, very excited about that one. So hopefully very soon.
Cool. Cool. Obviously, you guys were recently on Shark Tank, and that's, I think a very interesting perspective. I think you're the first person I've met that has been on Shark Tank. And I understand you guys got funding from Mark Cuban, so congratulations. Talk to us
Thanks.
about that process. What was it like, being on the show? What was the final investment? Who was bidding? What was your pitch? Did you guys tease the pipeline or just go in with the existing portfolio and demonstrate its value? Uh,
Yeah, so it was a really fantastic episode. And what you see on camera and the final edited version is 10 minutes while we're on stage for about an hour. So there's a lot that you don't see as a viewer. And I honestly think that what you don't see was what was really crucial to us making that deal. There was an entire demonstration that we led with a dog and our products that was wonderful. It went really smoothly. It showcased not only our thermometer, but our scale and the software side of things as well. So you could see our app in real time. You could see the mobile as well as the desktop app, both in real time. And this was all happening. And I think it really just helped convince especially Mark, that this was a good product. Because, it's one thing to talk about a product and it's one thing to give your pitch, which can be fun, but it's another thing to really show it to them, to let them hold it, let them see what's going on. So, yeah, I think that's what probably convinced Mark that this was a viable product. We don't have a lot of competitors out there in the market. He asked us a lot of times, and we're like, no, we promise they don't have any competitors. And it ended up being, there was no fight, unfortunately. That would have been fun to see everyone fighting for us. But it was just Mark who made an offer, but he was willing to keep our current valuation, which was super important to us and super important to our current investors, not to devalue what they have already done and the work that they've put into it and the money that they've put into it. So he offered exactly basically what we had asked for. And so we said yes. there's no time on stage to actually deliberate. So you do have to go in with calculations in mind if they do decide to kind of change it up on you. Or, sometimes they do offer something else. You have to kind of know that what's your ceiling, what's your floor. And we accepted it. It was wonderful. And the deal did go through. So it took quite a few months. We filmed back in June of 2023, and we aired in March of 24. So during all that time, it was reviewing the finances, making sure everything was set. Mark's team had to look through basically every nook and cranny of our company just to make sure that everything was all good there. And he liked it. He thought everything was great. So the deal went through. We aired. It's been wonderful just to see people coming in just saying, we saw your episode. We loved it. We never see pet products or medical devices that are both veterinary and consumer focused on the show. It's pretty not very common for that to happen. So just getting that really positive support has been absolutely wonderful. Just so many people who come up to us at conferences saying that they saw our episode and that they were just really amazed by the work that we've done. And Mark's a great partner. We no bad words to say about him. He is a wonderful, wonderful guy. Not only he's there, he's present, he answers emails. He didn't just, drop the money and run. He's very patient. He's clever. We try not to bother him too much, but he is, a really wonderful partner to work with.
I mean, it's a huge ace to have in your pocket for sure. Particularly with his experience in software. And you mentioned, we haven't talked about the software side. We've talked, about the scale. We've talked about the thermometer. We talked about what's to come. Tell us a little bit about the software. And I know you have some partnerships there. One with QSM Diagnostics, who we did a small feature with at Western Vet. Edgar's a great guy. Talk to us a little bit about the software there.
Yeah, so the idea with the software was always that we wanted it to be a centralized platform that's super easy to use. So our mobile app and our desktop app both work in a very similar way, where it's unlimited users, unlimited devices. So if you have 10 Mella thermometers, you can add them all in there and you can see all of that data. And for pet parents, of course, there are pet parents of all different technological savviness. There's people who are young and know how to use a smartphone, and then there's people who really don't get it. And so we wanted to make it as easy to use so that, if you're an older pet parent who is not as familiar with tech, but you still want to use an underarm thermometer for your pet, that it would guide you through these steps, make it super easy for you to digest. It would say, okay, step 1, turn the thermometer on. Step 2, make sure your Bluetooth is on, that kind of stuff. And we did model it a little bit off of Slack, where you have all of your different channels. All of your channels would be your different products. And so we had this framework where you can just add on more products as you go. So as soon as we make more products, they will just go into this platform. But most importantly, other companies and other partners like QSM can actually just hop onto our software as well. So it's built out in such a way that no matter what hardware you're adding, it'll just be an easy slide in. So you could have a Mella thermometer and you could have one of the Otter devices from QSM, and you could only use one app, which makes it just so much easier because I don't know about you, but I get so annoyed when it's time to download another app. I'm like, it seems like nowadays everything is download a new app, or you have to actually download 3 apps just to get tickets for your baseball game. It's like, what's all that about? And so what we really wanted was just one app, not one app for the thermometer, for the Otter device, for the blood pressure monitor, just one where everything would fit in. And so it makes it really easy to collaborate with other partners, so that you can just have this one app that continuously adds products. So QSM's amazing. Yeah, we absolutely love their team. Ed is wonderful. And we kind of helped him out there by saying, okay, well, we already have our software built out. Do you want to just hop on? And in return, we get to have a wonderful device within our software. So it's definitely a massive win-win for both of us. And we want to keep it open to collaborations with other companies, with other devices. If QSM wants to add more, like their Fetch, the pet parent product as well, that's an option. So The idea of the software is just to let other partners hop on and utilize the space.
Yeah, given that you guys have already facilitated the PIMS integration and being able to send data to the veterinarian, that's certainly a big value add that you can offer as well, and probably saves you guys some legwork on the hardware development side of things if you can bring on an already established product and have it sit, in the Mella app and the Mello ecosystem. That is super cool. That is neat. Well, Danielle, I know we're coming up on time here, but I'd be curious, as we wrap up, where do you see, in-home diagnostics going? You know, if you were to take your crystal ball and look into the future, what are we going to see from Mela in the next, 3 to 6 months? What do you see industry-wide in the next 3 to 6 months? And what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so at least, starting with Mela, we hope to have almost all of our current ecosystem products ideated and available. Now, of course, that means, I mean, we have so many other ideas, so that might not happen. It's kind of this never-ending cycle, but by the end of the year, we'll have maybe 2, 3 more products, both on the vet side and the pet parent side. Industry-wise, at least on the pet parent side of things, what we really see the future going is that you can take every important measurement and diagnostic at home. And this will be absolutely amazing for, not only people who have a hard time getting a vet appointment, but especially bringing vet care to rural areas, places where you have to drive 3 hours to your nearest vet, even urban areas where the wait time for a vet appointment is 6 months, where a lot of pet parents and pets can't wait for that. And so telehealth is going to be a massive, massive thing in the industry. And along with telehealth will be these products that are affordable, accessible, so you can take your pets to diagnostics and metrics at home. And in the ideal world, one day, you won't even need to take your pet to the vet unless it's an absolute emergency, where standard routine exams, normal questions can all be done just virtually. It'll save the pet parent time, energy, money. It'll also save the vet time, energy, money. Sometimes it is a lot easier just to go home and sit down in front of the computer instead of stay at the clinic until 9, 10 p.m. at night, wrapping up these things. So it'll be better for honestly everybody. Be better for vets, pets as well. They won't have to go in as frequently unless it is this big emergency. Of course, that's a little bit different, but for these just standard exams and routines, vet care will just be so much more accessible and affordable for everybody because homes will be able to have these diagnostic tools, and it'll be very exciting. We're definitely going to help out with that. We're not the only ones by far. There's so many other companies doing work to help that dream become a reality. But yeah, we're excited that at least our devices will play a part in making everyone's lives a little bit easier.
Yeah, no, I think you said it perfectly. It reduces the burden on the vet and on the vet staff. It makes things less stressful for pets. Your cat doesn't have to go in the carrier. I don't know how Star does with carriers, but I've
Not
heard it.
well.
Not a big fan for most cats. I talked about the stress Peony has, at the vet. If you can, where you can eliminate that, I think it's great. And the flip side of it is it probably opens up appointments for people who actually really need them, who need to be in there getting X-rays or getting an MRI or having blood work taken. Things that you actually physically do need to be at the vet for. I don't think the physical vet visit is going away, but I do think there's a lot that can be handled via telehealth, and that is going to be to the benefit of vets and pets alike. And the last point I'll make, we did an episode on telehealth. It was one of our first episodes with Frank DeCecco of DVM6. And, you think about telehealth and its ability to contribute to reducing veterinary burnout or bringing back veterinarians who have left the profession. There are some vets that, are done with the stress of being on the practice floor day after day after day after day. But like you said, they'd be fine sitting at a desk in their computer, taking calls, sharing their knowledge, sharing their expertise. And that was, a big part of Frank's mission with DVM6 is why let this knowledge and these valuable resources, we already have a shortage of vets, why let that go to waste? If you can allow people to fulfill their passion for veterinary medicine, but incorporate a little bit more work-life balance and let it work for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what's so great about the diagnostics for these routine exams is that, yeah, it opens up these appointments for people who have emergencies. If your pet needs surgery, rush them in immediately and hopefully, they'll be able to go in faster than having to wait for all these other pets that either, it's because they came in because they're lethargic or it's just a routine exam that, yeah, we're kind of taking the stress away from that aspect and making that easier. So it'll be great. Just kind of, yeah, this harmony between the brick and mortar and the telehealth, it'll happen. I know some people are kind of anti telehealth. It's like, oh, it'll get rid of the jobs of veterinarians. Like, not a chance. No, we still need the brick and mortar clinics. We still need them, but it'll help out so much more. So yeah, it's a great future.
Yeah, no, I think it's super promising, and having diagnostics like Mella is going to be critical to making sure that it can be effective because it gives vets the data to feel comfortable in making some level of diagnoses that they probably wouldn't be comfortable with otherwise. I think for a lot of vets, they struggle with not being able to take a hands-on approach. Um, because there's absolutely no data that they have to work with other than what they can see through a video screen and what the pet parent is describing. But as at-home diagnostics proliferate, they're going to have more to work with. And I think that is going to increasingly drive the comfort that vets and pet parents have with telehealth. And I think and I hope ultimately it's a positive for the ecosystem as a whole. So it's really cool to see what you guys are doing. And with respect to these new launches you talked about, will we be seeing any of them at Super Zoo? Will you guys be at Super Zoo? Um,
Well, so right now, no, because Super Zoo was a sold out event super early this year, and we should have jumped the gun a little bit earlier. But if we manage to get
oh,
a that's available, you might see us there. Fingers crossed that something opens up.
well, I will keep my fingers crossed for you. That is, I had not heard, but that's very exciting for me. I will keep my fingers crossed for you guys that you can get in. Um, wow, that definitely pretends for a big show in August. So hopefully you guys will be there. I would love to see the new launches in person and yeah and see you guys continue on this positive trajectory because I definitely remember, like I said, the first time I saw the Mella poster in the new product section, and it's amazing how far you guys have come since then. So kudos to you and your team for all the success and definitely looking forward to seeing what's to come.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you there.
Sounds good. Well, on behalf of Daniela, everybody, this is Peter Kenseth with Vice President and Partner at Maya Strategy Group with Petworking. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. Check out Mella Pet Care. You can get their products on direct to consumer on their website, Chewy, Amazon. Daniela, anywhere else I'm missing? If a vet or a pet parent wants to go get a thermometer or a scale or a bowl scale at this point?
Yeah, the Scale's only website, so that's the best place to go there. Just yeah, mella.ai, and everything is there, tax free and free shipping, which is nice.
There we go. There we go. So the price you see on the website is the price you pay, and probably gets there pretty quickly, I would guess as well.
Yeah, we're pretty fast. Not too bad
Awesome.
there.
Well, go check it out, everyone, and add another piece to your toolkit. Definitely, as I've said, the more data you have on your pet's vitals, the better decisions you can make about their health and the better care you can provide them. And it's really great to see companies like Mella, spearheading that movement and making better health for pets a possibility everywhere. So again, Peter Kenseth with Petworking. Thanks so much for taking the time to join today, everyone, and we'll talk to you again soon. Petworking is presented by Maya Strategy Group, a leading market research and strategy consulting firm, helping clients in the pet care and animal health industries navigate strategic challenges for almost 2 decades.